Part 27. I secretly got married to a super boss. Author, Dance Lightly. Chapter 261. Chapter 261 Apologize, let him apologize to me himself. Thank you, Mom. Jiao Mian accepted the gift and said thank you obediently. MRSMO. Her heart hurt so much. She really likes that bracelet. My mother really likes this bracelet. She wears it all the time. Mo Yesi looked at the bracelet Jiao Mian brought over and curled his lips and said, you have fair skin and look good in jade. I will buy you the right one another day. Earrings and necklaces can be paired together as a set. His voice was not loud, but both MRSMO and Shenro heard it. The son she raised was not so considerate to her. MRSMO was jealous and couldn't help but complain, as the saying goes, you forget your mother when you have a wife. This is really the case. I only know how to buy it for your wife. What are you doing? Did you buy it for me before? Hearing this, Mo Yesi smiled. Mom, why are you jealous of your wife? Haven't you always said that you want to give me a sister? Although you don't have a sister now, you have a wife and a daughter. I love your daughter, aren't you happy? MRSMO was stunned by his words. She originally wanted to say that she did not recognize this daughter. But she knew Mo Yesi's temper. Now that he recognized this woman, he couldn't help others saying anything bad about her. If she embarrasses Jiao Mian in person, it will only make the relationship between mother and son unharmonious. She wouldn't be that stupid. Next month, there will be a set of jade jewelry for auction. I think the style of that set of jewelry suits you very well. You gave up your beloved thing to Mian, so I took pictures of that set of jewelry and replenished it for you. Are you satisfied now? MRSMO and Mo Yunchinj are very affectionate. Although she is over 40 years old and they are the mother of children, Mo Yunchinj always treats her as a little princess and dotes on her. Mo Yesi followed suit, and he usually doted on MRSMO. MRSMO asked for jade jewelry, and he immediately agreed to buy it. This is what you said. MRSMO asked for the jewelry and felt her son's attention, which made her feel a little better. Well, that's what I said. Mo Yesi curled his lips, lowered his head and asked Jiao Mian, are you sleepy? Do you want to sleep? Can I take you to the bedroom to sleep for a while? Jiao Mian was not sleepy, but she still wanted to change places. Although the old lady and MRSMO seem to be easy to talk people and not difficult to get along with, she still feels uncomfortable in front of her elders. So, she said softly. Okay, then I'll take you to the bedroom to sleep for a while. Mo Yesi raised his head and said to MRSMO and the old lady, Mom, Grandma, you've seen me before. It's getting late now. Shouldn't it be time for you to take a nap? I'm a little sleepy, so I'll go take a nap first. You can call me again after dinner. After saying hello, he hugged Jiao Mian and left. Shenro's voice sounded at this time. Mo Yesi frowned slightly and turned to look at her. Shenro pinched her sleeves and stood up. She gently bit her lip. I'm sorry for Zili about what happened last time. He was too impulsive before. In fact, he regretted it not long after he went back that day. Mo Yesi stared at her for a few seconds, frowned even more, and spoke in a cold tone, if he wants to apologize, let him apologize to me himself. Also, the person he should apologize to is not me, but Mian. His cold attitude made Shenro's face look a little ugly. Shenro has already felt it. Ever since they had an unpleasant farewell last time, Mo Yesi had become much colder towards her when they met again. End of this chapter. I secretly got married to a super boss. Author, Dance Lightly. Chapter 262. Chapter 262 She began to hate a woman. Just now, he didn't even say hello to her. In the past, he would not have been like this. His attitude made Shenro sad and frightened, and her resentment towards Xiao Mian deepened. Because she felt that the changes in Mo Yesi were all because of Xiao Mian. They got along so well before Xiao Mian was not around. Now that I have this woman, everything is a little different. Si, are you still angry? It's all my fault. Shenro blinked, her eyes suddenly turned red. I asked you to come out for dinner that day. If it wasn't to catch the wind for me, I wouldn't. It has nothing to do with you. After all, she is a girl who has known her for more than 20 years. Seeing her like this, Mo Yesi's tone became softer and said, I don't blame you, and you should stop thinking about it. Did you really not blame me? Shenro was really aggrieved. When she thought of Mo Yesi's attitude of ignoring her just now, she felt aggrieved and wanted to cry. I thought you were still angry with me. Mo Yesi's patience is only strong with Xiao Mian, and he cannot last long with others. After comforting Shenro for a few words, he planned to leave. Have I told you not to think about it anymore? This is a matter between me and the fourth child, so you should not get involved anymore. After Mo Yesi said this, he hugged Xiao Mian and turned to leave. Shenro stayed where she was, looking at his figure slowly walking away, her eyes turning red a little. It has really changed. Even though he said he was not angry with her, his attitude towards her still showed a bit of alienation. It is very deliberately alienated. It can be said that he has never been like this before. The deliberate alienation he showed was for Xiao Mian. Did Xiao Mian ask him to do this? In just 1 minute, Shenro had hundreds of thoughts running through her mind. Finally, she attributed all the sources to Xiao Mian. All the changes happened after Mo Yesi got married. If he had not been married, if he was still single now, things would not be like this between them. They would be as happy and harmonious as they were in the past. The resentment in his eyes was revealed uncontrollably. For the first time in her life, she began to hate a woman. Rura, a confused voice sounded from behind, what's going on with you and ACI? Seeing the scene just now, Mrs. Mo's eyes showed doubts. Shenro blinked and hurriedly hid the emotion in her eyes. She turned around and showed a nonchalant smile to Mrs. Mo, and Mo, it's nothing. It's just a small misunderstanding. I made it clear to ACI just now. Mrs. Mo looked at her red eyes and frowned, what's going on? Why did ASI and Xiaogong quarrel? Was their quarrel serious? Hearing their conversation, the old lady glanced in their direction. What's wrong with ASI and Xiaogong? What are you talking about? It's nothing, Grandma Mo. Shenro rolled her eyes, met the old lady's questioning eyes, and said with a smile, a trivial matter is not worth bothering Grandma Mo. It's getting late, Grandma Mo. Is if you have the habit of taking a nap, let me help you go back to your room to rest. The old lady stared at her for a few seconds, then nodded, well, I'll go back to the room and rest for a while. Shenro walked over immediately. End of this chapter. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. I secretly got married to a super boss. Author, Dance Lightly. Chapter 263. Chapter 263. You have no chance to be my granddaughter-in-law. Grandma Mo, let me help you. The old lady has a slight problem with her legs and feet and cannot walk very smoothly. Shenro carefully helped her stand up, and reminded her softly, Grandma Mo, please slow down. After the old lady got up, she turned her head and looked at her again, with a trace of regret and pity in her eyes. This girl from the Shen family is really good. In terms of family background, appearance, and personal abilities, he is a perfect match for her precious grandson. Moreover, this girl is caring and filial. They, the elders, all like her quite a lot. The Shen family and the Mo family have been family friends for a long time. The two families have a good relationship among their elders, and they have had the idea of marriage in the past. The Shen family is naturally very satisfied with Mo Yesi, and they are also quite satisfied with the Shen family girl. Only, no matter how optimistic and satisfied they are as the elders, there is nothing they can do if the two juniors don't see eye to eye. Especially since her precious grandson is a very independent person, he may compromise on some unimportant matters, but it is absolutely impossible for him to compromise on major life matters that are related to his lifelong happiness. Since he didn't call Shenro, no one could force him or force him. They all knew Shenro's thoughts. This girl has liked her precious grandson since she was a child. Although they have never said it out loud, they have all been there before. If they really like someone, they can't hide their thoughts. I'm afraid that Mo Yesi's sudden marriage will hurt her. But the old lady is also a very sensible person. Although she also likes Shenro, since her precious grandson is already married, no matter how satisfied she is with Shenro, she will not consider letting her be her grandson-in-law. Asterisk. Because of the old lady's leg problems, there are elevators on the floors leading to her bedroom. The old lady lives on the 4th floor. Coming out of the elevator, Shenro helped the old lady outside her bedroom. Rura, Grandma has a few words that she wants to tell you. The old lady stood at the door, holding Shenro's hand, looking serious. Shenro had a cute smile on her face, nodded, and said in a gentle voice, "Well, Grandma Mo, please tell me, I'll listen." The old lady looked at her for a while and sighed faintly, "Rura, ACI's mother and I have always liked you. After so many years, Grandma Mo has already treated you as a granddaughter. Originally, I thought you and ACISI grew up together, and is the only person of the opposite who can get close to him. If SI wants to get married in the future, you will definitely be the first person he considers." Shenro was stunned, her face changed, and she bit her lips. "Grandma Mo." "Good boy." The old lady patted the back of her hand gently. "It seems that you have no chance to be my granddaughter-in-law. I know you still can't let go of ACI, but he is married now, as you can see. He likes me and very much. I've seen ACI's child grow up, and I know him well. The person he identifies as is the person he has made up his mind to live his whole life. Rura, you are a very outstanding child. Besides ACI, there are many equally outstanding children. The boy is worthy of your liking. You should stop wasting your time on ACI, you should also look at the other boys around you." Shenro liked Mo Yesi before. Even if she had unrequited love, the old lady wouldn't say anything. But it's different now. "Baby, go to bed after reading the update. Don't stay up late like me. Staying up late will make you look ugly. Don't worry about MRSMO mistreating me and Mian. You might not like her in the early stage. After all, MRSMO has always been a person with a strong sense of family status, and Shenro acts as a monster to attract hatred. But in the later stage, she will definitely like Mian. End of this chapter. I secretly got married to a super boss. Author, Dance Lightly. Chapter 264. Chapter 264. She won't quit. Her grandson is married and has a wife. The old lady felt bad if Shenro continued to like her grandson as before. So the old lady pulled her and said these words, telling her in a roundabout way that Mo Yesi was married and a married man, and she should avoid any suspicion. Shenro is already smart, how could she not tell? When the old lady finished speaking, her expression changed several times. The old lady originally advised her for her own good. But these words were indescribably harsh to Shenro's ears. She couldn't hear a word. She did not think that the old lady was doing it for her own good. On the contrary, she thought that the old lady was being partial. They all knew that she and Mo Yesi had grown up together, and they all thought that she would marry Mo Yesi in the future. Everyone thinks that they are the best match. Then why should she quit? Just because Mo Yesi got married? Mrs. Chemo herself said that you can get divorced after getting married. Nothing can last forever. Besides, she didn't think Mo Yesi and Jiao Mianmian's marriage could last long. How many common topics can two people from the wrong family have in common? Even if the relationship is really good now, it is just a temporary novelty. How long can this fresh energy last after it wears off? So she won't quit. She can wait. She believed that Mo Yesi would divorce Jiao Mianmian in just 1 year at most. It was only a year, she could afford to wait. Grandma Mo, I understand. Shenro had another thought in her heart, but on the surface she looked well behaved and sensible, and responded obediently, I understand what you mean. Don't worry, ASI is already married, I will keep a good balance and will not cause trouble to him and Mian. Good boy, the old lady said happily, I knew you were sensible. Asterisk. After Shenro sent the old lady back to her room, she returned downstairs. As soon as I walked down the stairs, I saw a maid coming over with a bowl of dark water. She glanced at it casually and asked curiously, what is this? Where is it sent to? Shenro often visited the Mo family. Before Mo Yesi got married, the servants of the Mo family basically regarded her as the future young lady. Even though Mo Yesi is married now, these servants are still polite to her. She is not the young lady of the Mo family, she is also the eldest lady of the Shen family. So when she asked, the maid immediately replied respectfully, Miss Shen, this is brown sugar water. Brown sugar water, Shenro was stunned for a moment, what is this used for? The young master asked us to drink it before he brought the young madam back. This should be for the young madam to drink. The maid hadn't seen Shenro's instantly gloomy face, and said with a smile, this girl's menstrual period can be relieved by drinking it painful. Yes, another maid also said with a smile, I really didn't realize that our young master is such a careful and considerate person. He is so kind to the young lady. Not only did he let us boil the brown sugar water early, and also asked the kitchen to cook more light food, it must be because the young lady cannot eat too much spicy food during her menstrual period. I thought the young master was the kind of man who wouldn't be gentle to women at all. But I just saw him carrying the young madam upstairs and whispering in the young madam's ear. The way he looked at the young madam, so gentle. Thank you Jing Jing, Tang Tang, the past is like smoke, fresh, 177-42-82, watermelon is not sour, but very sweet, a reward from the girl sleeping under the lemon tree. Thank you to all the cuties for your support, okay. End of this chapter. I secretly got married to a super boss. Author, Dance Lightly. Chapter 265. Chapter 265. I want all the information about Jiao Mian. The maids started talking to each other one by one, getting more and more excited as they talked. After all, their young master was once an insulator for women. They also once doubted whether he liked men. Now that the young master is married, and he is so affectionate with the young madam, it is enough to prove that his sexual orientation is normal. It seems that the young master has been indifferent to other women before, not because he is not interested in women, but because he has not met a woman he likes. He behaves like a normal man towards the woman he likes. Shenro's face became colder and colder due to the discussions of several maids. While the several maids were talking, they suddenly felt cold eyes falling on them. When they looked up, when they saw Shenro's face that was so cold that it was almost frozen, their hearts skipped a beat, and they were all frightened. Shut up. A few people looked at each other, a little regretful. How could they forget that Miss Shen likes their young master? She has liked the young master for so many years, but the young master still has no love for her. Now that the young master suddenly got married, she must be in a bad mood. The words they just said undoubtedly added salt to the wound in her heart. However, Shenro's impression has always been gentle, pleasant, noble, and elegant. Suddenly seeing her face so gloomy, the expressions and eyes on her face were very different from usual, and several maids were also a little frightened. "Miss Shen, I'm going to deliver brown sugar water to the young lady." The maid holding the brown sugar water lowered her head, turned around and walked quickly upstairs. The other maids also made some excuses and left one after another. Shenro stood there, thinking about what the maids had just said, her teeth bit into her lips tightly. Even though she knew that Mo Yesi and that woman wouldn't last long, she couldn't bear even this moment of happiness. Chiao Mian, why should she? What qualifications does she have to let Mo Yesi treat her so well? Shenro stood there for a while. The more she thought about it, the more unwilling she became. She took out her mobile phone and sent a message, "Zili, I want all the information about Chiao Mian. After you check it, send it to me as soon as possible." She knew that Gong Zili would definitely help her. Because Gong Zili likes her. She always knew. Asterisk. Go back to the bedroom. Mo Yesi walked to the bedside with Chiao Mian in his arms. "Are you sleepy?" He reached out and touched her head. "If you feel sleepy, just sleep for a while. I'll call you after dinner." Chiao Mian is really sleepy. Summer is a season where you are easily tired, and since she is still on her menstrual period, she is quite lackluster. Just now I concentrated all my attention on dealing with the old lady and MRSMO. After dealing with this, I relaxed and felt weak. Yeah, she nodded slightly, and after feeling a little sleepy, even her voice was gurgling, "I'm a little sleepy." Mo Yesi immediately picked her up and put her gently on the bed, "Then let's sleep for a while." "And you?" As soon as it touched the bed, Chiao Mian couldn't help but yawned. "I'm going to the study for a while." Mo Yesi sat down on the bed and covered her with a thin blanket. "There are some unfinished matters in the company, so I'll go and deal with them." When he did these things, he seemed to do them very naturally and casually. Also very skilled. It seemed like he had been taking care of her like this for a long time. Chiao Mian lowered her eyes, glanced at the thin blanket covering her body, pursed her lips, and a sweet smile dyed the corners of her lips. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. I secretly got married to a super boss. Author, Dance Lightly. Chapter 266. Chapter 266. Chapter 266. All private time belongs to you. She pursed her lips and smiled, then raised her head to look at him and blinked in confusion. "Aren't you the CEO? Why are you so busy and you have to work even during the holidays?" Mo Yesi curled his lips. "I just took over the company not long ago, and many things, big and small, need to be handled by me personally. But don't worry, after this busy month, I won't be so busy in the future. I will try my best to spend more free time with you." "I didn't mean it that way." Chiao Mian felt a little embarrassed. It sounded like she was complaining that he didn't have time for her. "That's not what you meant, but I want to spend more time with you." Mo Yesi stared at her with gentle eyes. "Baby, don't you want to spend more time with me? Don't you want to be with me?" Under his focused and gentle gaze, Chiao Mian's heartbeat accelerated and her face began to feel hot. "I hope." Before she could answer, Mo Yesi curled his lips again, and his voice became deeper and more seductive. "Although I can't be by your side all the time, I promise that in the future, except for work time, I will spend all my time with you. Your personal time is all yours." Chiao Mian's heartbeat was getting faster and faster. She felt like her face was about to burn. How could Mo Yesi, a man, be so good at flirting? He really didn't know how heartwarming his words would be. She couldn't resist such an offensive of tenderness. "Baby, Do you agree? It seemed that he really didn't know how charming and seductive he was. He showed her a charming smile and whispered in her ear with his low and seductive voice. Asked. Chiao Mian felt like her ears were about to become pregnant. My head became dizzy. She felt that Mo Yesi did it on purpose, deliberately displaying his masculine charm in front of her. She is not a nymphomaniac, and she cannot resist a man like him who is full of hormones and is so fascinated that he becomes dizzy. And, as if it was not his own, he nodded involuntarily and responded obediently, "Okay." "Good girl." Mo Yesi chuckled, held her white and delicate face in his warm hands, lowered his head and kissed her soft lips. It was just a brief kiss. The brief kiss turned into a long and passionate kiss. Mo Yesi pressed it against the tip of her nose, her breathing a little short. His big hot hands were still holding her delicate little face. He lowered his eyes and looked at the girl in his arms whose cheeks were turned red by his kiss. His eyes were a little scary. There was a faint fire dancing in his eyes. There was a knock on the door suddenly. Mo Yesi took a deep breath, suppressed the heat that was about to stir in his body, and spoke in a hoarse voice, "Who?" End of this chapter. I secretly got married to a super boss. Author, Dance Lightly. Chapter 267. Chapter 267. Mian, can I come in? Second young master, the brown sugar water you asked for is ready. The voice of a maid sounded outside the door. Mo Yesi lowered his head and kissed Chiao Mian's forehead, and said softly, "It will feel better if you drink brown sugar water before going to bed. I'll get it for you." He let go of her, stood up and walked to the door. "Open the door, take the brown sugar water from the maid, then turn around and return to the bed. Chiao Mian's stomach no longer hurts." Looking at the brown sugar water Mo Yesi handed over, she still reached out to take it, then raised her head and drank it in one gulp. Mo Yesi stood by the bed, watched her finish her drink, took the empty bowl, and stretched out his hand to straighten the thin blanket covering her body. "You can go to bed, I'm going to the study." Even in the middle of summer, Mo Yesi covered her up tightly. Except for the head, everything else is covered. Chiao Mian held the corner of the thin blanket with one hand, blinked her dark and soft eyes, and looked at the man standing beside the bed in a daze. The man's eyebrows are gentle, and his usual indifference and alienation have faded away, and even the aura on his body is soft. The corners of her gently raised lips were filled with a doting smile, and there was also a hint of doting in her dark and deep eyes. He looked at her as if he were looking at something he loved. Such a look is completely overwhelming. "What's wrong?" Mo Yesi was about to turn around and leave, but when he saw her staring directly at him, he curled his lips and leaned down to touch her head. Staring at his handsome face, Chiao Mian suddenly came back to her senses and shook her head. "It's nothing. Go and do your work." "I'm asleep," she said and closed her eyes. He still had work to do, and she didn't want to delay him. "Well, then I'm leaving." Mo Yesi placed another gentle kiss on her forehead, stood up and walked outside. Going to the door, after thinking about it, he turned up the temperature of the indoor air conditioner by 2 degrees. As soon as he turned around, Chiao Mian opened her eyes. Seeing him standing at the door adjusting the temperature of the air conditioner, she felt a strange emotion in her heart. She got married unwillingly. From the beginning, she agreed to marry him just for Chiao Chen. Originally, she thought that a marriage like this where there was no affection between each other would definitely be worse. How can it be good to live with a man you don't love? But now she realizes that this marriage is not as bad as she imagined. The feeling of getting married is not bad. It feels good to have a husband who dotes on her and cares about her. Everything was much better than she expected. Perhaps, she should readjust her mentality. She should try to truly treat Mo Yesi as her husband. Asterisk. After Mo Yesi came out of the bedroom, he went directly to the study. His bedroom is on the third floor and his study is on the second floor. Shenro, who was standing at the corner of the stairs, slowly walked out after watching him go downstairs. She walked outside Mo Yesi's bedroom with an inexplicable expression. After hesitating for a few seconds, she reached out and knocked on the door. In the room. Not long after Chiao Mian closed her eyes and before she felt sleepy, she heard someone knocking on the door. She thought Mo Yesi had forgotten something, but then she thought about it. Did he need to knock on the door in his own bedroom? While he was guessing who it was, he heard a delicate voice, Mian, can I come in? Chiao Mian was stunned for a moment, with a hint of surprise in her eyes. End of this chapter. I secretly got married to a super boss. Author, Dance Lightly. Chapter 268. Chapter 268. It's different from what she imagined. Is a deep and soft voice. Perhaps she didn't answer immediately, so the knock on the door rang again. Mian, I have a few words to say to you. Can I go in and talk to you? Before Chiao Mian could reply, she heard a click and the bedroom door was pushed open. Shenro walked in from outside. Seeing Chiao Mian lying on the bed with her eyes open, she frowned and said in a slightly dissatisfied tone, I thought you were asleep, but it turns out you weren't. Chiao Mian originally had no objection to this woman who had a secret crush on her husband. It was indeed Shenro who met Mo Yesi first. They have been in love for many years. Secondly, she knew very well that Mo Yesi had no other thoughts about Shenro and just regarded her as a friend. There is no reason for her to be jealous of anything, and there is no reason to be jealous. It's just that Shenro's behavior of entering other people's bedrooms without their consent made her a little unhappy. She is also a lady from a famous family. You should know this rule from an early age, not to enter other people's rooms without their consent. What's more, she came back with Mo Yesi today. Is it really okay to just randomly enter the room of a couple? Such behavior made Chiao Mian feel that she was quite uneducated. Chiao Mian's face looked a little unhappy, and her tone was not very polite. Miss Shen, I don't think I agree with you coming in. You shouldn't just walk into other people's rooms. Such behavior is very rude. Chiao Mian's impression on Shenro has always been soft, and weak. Seems like someone who is easy to bully. Shenro was stunned for a moment when she suddenly criticized her so shamelessly, and then an apologetic smile appeared on her lips. Sorry, I knocked on the door just now and thought you didn't hear it, so I came in without permission. She said she was sorry, but Chiao Mian didn't see any apology in her eyes. Chiao Mian had no intention of accepting this half-hearted apology. Since you knocked on the door and I didn't say you could come in, it means it's inconvenient. Miss Shen should understand this. She said these words unceremoniously. Ms. Shen, I'm sleeping and you're disturbing me. Me. Shenro's face originally maintained an elegant and decent smile, but she was scolded again and again for being so disrespectful, and the smile on her lips could no longer hold. She suddenly discovered that Chiao Mian was different from what she had imagined. Miss Shen, I still want to sleep. Chiao Mian raised her head and glanced at her. Please go out. By the way, remember to close the door when you go out. The smile on Shenro's face froze. Her eyes became serious. She put away the smile on her lips, and then she spoke again, changing her title. Miss Chiao, I have a few words to say to you. After I finish speaking, I will leave naturally. Miss Chiao, the lady is not in a hurry and needs to go to bed now. Hearing her change of title, Chiao Mian sighed inwardly that what should come will always come. Shenro was quite hostile to her. If she had been suppressing herself and doing nothing, she would have felt abnormal. It seems that Shenro can't bear it anymore. This eldest lady of the Shen family is not very calm. Chiao Mian really wanted to hear what she would say, so she nodded and said, Okay, I wonder what Miss Shen wants to say. Shenro pursed her lips, and her hostile eyes fell on her slightly red and swollen lips. She stared at them for a few seconds. Her eyes were a little cold. Miss Jiao must have known that ACI has a strange problem. He can't feel free to come into contact with women, otherwise, you will have an allergic reaction. Thank you Chen Xian, Xia, Qingluan, Tang Tang, 139.47, Bai Luning, YLJ, 132.38, 135.49, Tiffany for the reward, okay. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. I secretly got married to a super boss. Author, Dance Lightly. Chapter 269. What does Chapter 269 have to do with Bai Su? This is also one of the important reasons why he has been single for so many years. Of course, there is another reason, that is, he is too picky, and ordinary women cannot easily catch his eye. Miss Jiao should know Bai Su, right? In recent years, she has been a very popular newcomer in the music scene. Bai Su is not only a good singer, but also very beautiful, and has a particularly figure no normal man can resist her charm. Beiju. Jiao Mian is in the entertainment industry, so of course she knows this person. Even if she is not in the entertainment industry, she definitely knows it. 3 years ago, Bai Su participated in a talent show and won first place in the singing competition. Bai Su's voice is very unique and very ethereal. He has released several albums, all of which were hits. The several concerts we held were also sold out. She is not only very talented, but also looks very and beautiful. After her official debut, she became popular very quickly. With Bai Su's strength and resources, she could definitely go further and be more stable. However, I don't know why, but she, who had a promising future, suddenly held a press conference and said that she wanted to withdraw from the entertainment industry, and then she actually left the entertainment industry. Since then, news related to Bai Su has rarely been seen. This woman seemed to have disappeared out of thin air. Jiao Mian didn't understand why Shen Rou suddenly talked about Bai Su. What does what Miss Shen want to say have to do with Bai Su? Jiao Mian didn't like beating around the bush, so she asked directly. Shen Rou raised her lips and smiled, looked at her with a harsh look in her eyes, and then said, "Do you know why Bai Su announced her withdrawal from the industry when she was just popular? Because she did something she shouldn't have done. Something happened that off ACI. If she doesn't do that, she will be banned and will no longer be able to survive in the entertainment industry." Jiao Mian was surprised. The matter of Bai Su's withdrawal from the circle has something to do with Mo Yesi? I have to say that Shen Rou aroused her curiosity, and she couldn't help but ask, what did she do? Shen Rou raised her lower lip again, with a hint of disdain in her eyes. She was the lover of a friend of Asi's back then, and she attended a party with that man, and ASI was also at that party. She fell in love with ASI at first sight. Later, I tried my best to pursue ACI, but unfortunately, ACI was not interested in her. Seeing that her pursuit was unsuccessful, she even gave up her face. She found out about Asi's whereabouts from somewhere, so she sneaked into Asi's room, took off her clothes and hid on his bed, trying to seduce ASI through sex. When ACI found out, he was so angry that he asked the bodyguard to throw her out of the room on the spot. Jiao Mian was dumbfounded when he heard this. So, the reason why Bai Su was forced to withdraw from the circle was because she had seduced Mo Yesi? And he took off his clothes and lay on his bed to seduce her? This amount of information was a bit overwhelming, so much so that Jiao Mian didn't know what to say for a while. At that time, many people were speculating on the reason for Bai Su's withdrawal from the industry. But I guessed again and again, and even after guessing so many times, I got it wrong. Who would know that the real reason is this? So, what does this have to do with what you want to tell me? Surprised, Xiao Mian still didn't forget the topic. Miss Xiao, a beauty like Baisu has been stalking ACI for so long, and even used seduction, and ACI didn't even look at her. Miss Xiao thinks that compared to Baisu, how much better she is advantage. End of this chapter. I secretly got married to a super boss. Author, Dance Lightly. Chapter 270. Chapter 270. Miss Shen thinks I'm not worthy of Mo Yesi? Shenro had a gentle smile on her lips, and her tone was gentle. Xiao Mian looked at her smiling face, and then realized why she talked about Baisu. It turned out to be to attack her. She never thought about becoming a real enemy with Shenro. For Xiao Mian, this is a very troublesome thing. However, when others provoked her, she couldn't just accept it and do nothing. She looked at Shenro for a while, then raised the corners of her lips and smiled. Miss Shen, do you think I'm not worthy of Mo Yesi? Shenro smiled. Don't get me wrong, Miss Xiao, I didn't say that. I just told you some of the things I know truthfully, and I want you to know more about ACI. After all, he is your husband now, isn't he? The time you have known each other is too short, so Miss Xiao must not know him very well. ACI has been very picky since he was a child. He will not want anything that is not the best. Not only does he have high demands on others, I also demand perfection in everything. To be honest, I was really surprised when I suddenly learned that he was married. Because, with his temperament, he would never do such a thing as a flash marriage. He is very cautious about his marriage and is very careful about the people who accompany him. The other half around me is even more cautious. But now that I think about it, I can understand it. After all, Miss Xiao is the only woman who won't give him an allergic reaction. This is indeed very special and rare. If ACI wants to cure his disease, he must living with Miss Xiao for a long time will make it easier for Lu Rao to study where your uniqueness for him comes from. Having said this, Shenro paused for a moment, as if thinking about something. After a few seconds, she looked at Xiao Mian with a smile. Speaking of which, there is something I am very curious about. Miss Xiao and ACI, I didn't know him before, right? How did ACI know that he wouldn't have an allergic reaction when he touched you? Can Miss Xiao help me clear up my doubts? Shenro is really confused. Mo Yesi will not let any woman get close to him or touch him. Including her, she is no exception. So, how did Xiao Mian get close to him? How could she get close to Mo Yesi without his permission? After listening to Shenro's words, Xiao Mian's face looked calm. Shenro was hostile to her, and she didn't just know about it. What ugly words can't be said to a woman who is jealous? Shenro, this is quite euphemistic. After all, she is the daughter of the famous Shen family, so she cannot do the vulgar insults of a shrew in the market. But these guns and sticks are enough to make people worry. Xiao Mian stared at Shenro's smiling eyes for a while, then slowly raised the corners of her lips. What Miss Shen means is that the reason why Mo Yesi married me is because I won't cause him to have an allergic reaction. If I didn't have this special characteristic, he wouldn't even look at me twice. First he used Baisu as an example to suppress her, and then he hinted to her that Mo Yesi was allergic to women. Mo Yesi would marry her just because she was the only woman who would not cause him to have an allergic reaction. In short, after saying so much, didn't I just want to tell her that Mo Yesi didn't like her at all? Once the doctor figured out the specific cause and had a response plan, she would lose her use to Mo Yesi. End of this chapter.